For today's episode, I am very excited to welcome a very special guest that I've wanted to have on uh, the Calling and the Climb podcast ever since I heard him speak at an entrepreneur conference just a few months ago. I am so excited to have Galen Walters here with us today. Galen has spent over 4 decades buying, selling, scaling, leading companies across a number of industries. But I tell you what stood out to me, Galen, the most when I heard you speak a few months ago was your honesty in talking about a season when everything almost fell apart.
Yeah.
That really touched me.
Wow.
So, with that little introduction, welcome to the podcast. I'm very honored that you would
Thank
be
you,
here
Phillip.
today.
Thank you very much. I'm honored to be here. It's a pleasure.
Well,
I've watched all your podcasts.
oh
So
man, well, thank you.
thrilled to be here.
Before we get into that hard season,
Yeah.
let me just ask you a question. What first pulled you into entrepreneurship?
Wow, great question. I was working for Safeway stores. I started doing illustration in my garage when I first got married. So, and I actually go all the way back to high school, started drawing shoes for a shoe store in Houston. My architectural drafting teacher asked me to draw some shoes, and I did it, and I liked it. And so I was doing pen and ink illustration, and I did those week after week after week for a shoe company. And so I realized I kind of liked art better than I did architectural drafting. And so I ended up going to Texas Academy of Art, came out of that, working at Safeway stores and advertising, and realized I did not want to be part of a big bureaucracy and a large company. And I was a number, and I grew. I mean, I did very well in it. Became advertising supervisor really quick. They wanted me to move to different states. They interviewed me for different opportunities. I turned them all down, and I left to be an entrepreneur. And I've never looked back.
Awesome. So over that time, you've built and sold companies.
Yes, sir.
You've led them through multiple decades and through multiple shifts. And you're unique in the fact that you've been in this game for a long, long time in entrepreneurship. I'm just curious. It's a tough game.
Yeah.
What's kept you in it for so long?
I can't wait to get up every day. I mean, I get up very early and I spend a couple hours in research and study and prayer, and then I dive in and I'm prepared for the day. It's very rare that I don't enjoy what I'm tackling that day, good or bad.
Yeah.
I'm pretty much prepared for it mentally when I get there, and I'm in battle until I win it. So it's a challenge. I think part of it's a challenge. Part of it is it's a game. Business is a game. It's not life and death all the time. There's wins and losses, and you make good decisions and bad decisions. We've been talking about some of those, and the other thing we were involved in together, and I just absolutely love it. I mean, it's you can't get the thrill that I get every day working for a company hourly or even as a
Good
manager
point.
because I kind of run my own show, and I get to pull the levers, and I love that.
That's great. So even after you've done it for so long, it still excites you, wakes you up in the morning.
I have no retirement plans. I think I've told you that, but I have no intention of stopping working. I hope I work till I fall over.
I love that.
Maybe in somebody's office. So I just really do enjoy it and can't imagine not being engaged in some enterprise that I'm growing and building.
Yeah.
And growing people. I mean, I love the idea of helping people and growing people and taking care of people, nurturing people. And I look for those people to nourish that are hungry and want to grow. So I mean, I think it's just a combination of all of it. Makes me just really love doing what I do every day.
I love that, and I can feel it. The passion's still there.
Yeah,
I love it. That's great.
I'm 72 and I'm on fire, and I can't imagine.
Boom! I love
I'm working in a brand new operation, starting up a brand new company right now,
awesome.
and it's a big scaling opportunity. I've never scaled something to $1 billion.
Wow.
I think we have an opportunity in this one, and so I want to go out with a blaze of glory here.
That's awesome.
And doing it all the way. I'm excited about it.
Well, let's talk about. I heard you talk about a season where you almost lost everything.
Yep, hit the wall. Yep, I did that.
Can you take us back to that moment?
Yeah, I'll go back a little ways. So 1986 December, the dollar devalued over 55% during that year. And when that happened, I lost my foreign paper supply, and I was, as being an entrepreneur, being an entrepreneur, you go from genius to village idiot overnight. And so I was a genius at one point there, I thought, and had figured out that I could hedge and buy paper in the foreign markets and sell it domestically and make about $125 a ton on it net. And so I was making $250,000 a month on paper, and I was just knocking it dead. And I did that for a couple of years there. And I thought, Walters, you got the tiger by the tail. Well, I didn't realize that the government controlled the dollar's value and got tired of foreign countries taking advantage of the United States and selling cheap and letting people make money on here. So they devalued the dollar. And when that happened, it devalued over 55% in 1 year, never devalued over 5% annually that I'd seen. So I thought I had the tiger by the tail. When that happened, I started losing $300,000 a month. And that happened in December of 86. So from December of 86 through 87 and 88, I bled profusely and ended up laying off 380 people. I mean, I built this company from scratch in, 6 short years. In 1981, February the 7th, I started it. And this was in 86, so 5 years until the dollar devalued. And then so 7 years in, I hit the wall wide open and just could not recover it. And then a company tried to seize one of the big presses I had, and I had to file Chapter 11 to keep them from seizing the press so I could stay in business. So I was prepared to do that. I'd done all this research and study and knew what to do and when to pull the trigger, and I pulled it the day I had to. And there's a whole big story around that is a lot of fun, but it's fun now looking back. It wasn't fun at the moment. It wasn't fun then. Yeah. But I had over 100 judgments against me by the time I filed, and it was just an ugly, long, drawn-out period of time that I just had to put my head down and slog through it every day. And that was a dark period of my life. And then I went through Chapter 11 in 80, 88, 89, came out in 90. Actually filed in September of 89, came out in 1990, and owned 51% of the company. Miracle happened during that time too, where my opposing force that was trying to get me out, shut me down, didn't show up for the court date. And they missed it by 1 day on their calendar. And it was one of the largest law firms in the Houston area at that time, supporting Ford Motor Credit was the client. And they were trying to get me to shut the company down, liquidate it. And they didn't show up for the court date. And the judge granted me my plan. And I walked away with 51% of the company and rebuilt it. And that's actually the best part of the story.
Well, let's hold off on that just a second. Before we get to the recoveries phase, what does a near
trying
failure...
to get out of the bad story.
Yeah. One more question along that line. What does a near failure feel like when others are depending on you? Whether it's family, whether it's employees, all the above.
Well, I mean, I went through a period of not being able to make payroll. I had to fly to Denver and cash checks up there in the other company I had and bring the money back in the suitcase, back in my suitcase and pay people with cash, stored cash in the freezer because I couldn't have a bank account because they would seize my bank account. I mean, so you get creative during those times and you do whatever you have to do to survive it. But when you've got people depending on you, you have to let them go. In the darkest hour of my career there, I remember laying off over 300 people in 1 day. And I remember crying the entire day. I'd bawl my eyes out because these guys all had families. Yeah. I still crack up every time I think about it because it was horrible for them. It was horrible for me. I mean, I loved every one of these people. I love people, which is bad. I mean, because if you didn't love people, you could be just a jerk and run a business, I guess. But I just love people too much. And I cared that, I mean, I love to mentor people. I like to grow people. I like to see them prosper. I want to see them do well and have a family that's healthy and have a family that's happy and see their kids grow up and all that stuff. And you have to let those people go. And I couldn't pay a penny of severance.
It wasn't their fault.
Wasn't their fault.
Yeah.
Wasn't their fault. And at the end of it, I brought in a consultant when we got back on our feet and started asking questions. What'd you think about that? Was I a hero? Was I an idiot? And everybody thought I was an idiot. Yeah. All my employees that survived it said that I was a risk taker and I risked too much and I got the company in trouble. We wouldn't have grown. We wouldn't have opened plants. We wouldn't have done all that stuff had I not been risking it. Yeah. We wouldn't have had what we had I not figured out how to buy paper on the foreign supply. So you have all these second guessers and these doubters, and you deal with that in the most honest way you can by saying, "Hey, I'm so sorry. I didn't see it as risk taking. I mean, I didn't see that I was taking too much risk. I saw business. It's what I had to do for us to grow this and be the competitor in the marketplace. I didn't want to be a competitor. The com means seeking to be at the same level. Sir meant seeking to raise the level. And so I was a competitor. I set the tone. I was the first guy to integrate Camex and Cytex, the black and white system with the color system, and go digital with pages. We were the first people to do that. I mean, it was just phenomenal, the technological edge we were running on, and yet it put us in jeopardy. And then when the bottom fell out on the dollar and I lost the paper supply, I started bleeding profusely, and down we went. And so, you're a bad guy to some and you're a hero to another one.
Start saying you could have been the biggest hero ever of the decade, right?
Had the dollar not devalued, I'd have probably been the biggest printer in North America.
Sometimes that's a fine line.
It is a fine line. And there's also a fine line between genius and village idiot. And I went from being a genius one day to a village idiot the next. And then I had to earn my way back out of that.
So let's talk about that. What was your first step to recovery from a situation that looked near fatal?
Winning the court's approval to come out of Chapter 11 obviously is the catalyst that gives you the green light to go. But during the Chapter 11, I did have enough courage to win the Randall's Supermarkets piece of business. While I was in Chapter 11, I won that. And they signed a contract with me to come out. And that helped me and helped the judge realize that I was determined to come out of this and to grow it.
Never give up.
Never give up and keep selling.
Yeah.
You got to keep selling no matter how ugly it is. And I just told the truth. I told people where I was at, what I was doing, what was happening. But if you'll help me do this, I'll help you do that. And we were able to solve some technical problems for them and help them grow their sales. And
didn't happen overnight, I'd take it.
Didn't happen overnight. No. But we did it. So, but when I went to Chapter 11, I was 36 million. I dropped to 15 million. I had a lot of customers leave me during Chapter 11 because they were scared of the Chapter 11, thought I was going to go out of business. I lost Safeway, I lost Kroger, I lost Albertsons. During Chapter 11, I went down to 15 million. I gained Albertsons, which was 2.5, 3 million. I came out of Chapter 11 at about 16 million, 17 million. I grew it to 70 million in 5 years. Wow. How did we do that? We came out determined we would never make the mistakes we made before. So it was like going to Harvard in a year and a half.
Wow.
I mean, it just was. I'm not educated. I didn't finish college. I went to art school, for goodness sakes. I came out an illustrator. So, I'm not a good student.
No formal business training?
No formal business training at all. Never, ever.
Unbelievable. Wow.
Never. So I didn't finish. I mean, they asked me to leave Stephen F. Austin University in the second semester because I was asking too many questions.
So if somebody says, I'm not a success, I can't be an entrepreneur because I don't have an MBA.
That's baloney.
Thank you.
It's complete baloney.
Yeah.
No, each of us learns some way. Yeah. We learn good and bad. We either learn it from observation or study, right? Or exposure or association. I mean, you learn good and bad. Yeah. You make a choice to learn the good. You make a choice to educate yourself. So I started studying, and I was horrible at grammar. I was horrible at the English language. I said ain't and don't and things of that sort back then. I ain't, that kind of stuff. And my wife, bless her heart, would say, don't ever say that again. That makes you sound stupid. And so, I started learning just by observation and study. Yeah. And so I just taught myself. And the School of Hard Knocks has a nice way of beating the fire out of you. So, but no, I'm not educated at all. And I felt horrible not having an MBA for years. Yeah. But you know what? My education is far superior to anything you can get in school.
That's good.
I mean, that's just the way I feel about it. So I'm sure there are many professors that would argue that.
Probably. So let me ask you this. How I know you're a man of great faith, and you do a lot on the faith side of things. How did your faith during this really dark time influence you or help you through this?
Great question. Because let me back up. So 1987, me and two other gentlemen published Into His Marvelous Light, the 1-hour Bible study. Right. So we wrote that, beat each other to death, about killed each other, publishing that Bible study. It's been the largest single 1-hour Bible study ever published.
All over the world, right?
All over the world. It's global. Yeah. 27 languages now. It's digital. So that came out in 1987. I believe that the forces of Satan did not want that Bible study out.
Wow.
Right? Because it's had such an incredible impact in the oneness movement. And so all three of us went through the battles of our lives. Mine was business. So the entire time I was going through all this, I knew that I was fighting a force that I could not see.
Wow.
And that it was beyond my will and beyond my ability to come out of this on my own.
Mm-hmm.
That if God didn't step in and help me, I wouldn't survive this.
Mm.
And it was miracle after miracle after. I can tell you things that will blow your mind and raise the hair on the back of your neck that God did in that time. Yet I felt nothing for 2 years. Nothing.
No confirmation.
Nothing.
No word.
I had words, but I wasn't feeling anything.
Got it.
I was bone desert dry.
Mm.
And
Wow.
but I'm telling you that it was a spiritual battle.
Mm-hmm.
And
What
yet,
were your prayers like during that time?
I wished I could remember. They were never very positive. I can tell you that. I was begging for my life. Most of them were, God, what did I do wrong? What am I missing? Did I make a mistake? Those kinds of things.
Yeah.
So, and ask forgiveness probably 1,000 times of things I did wrong that I couldn't quite wrap my head around. But then also greed had stepped in, and I knew God was doing a reset of my principles and values
Mm-hmm.
because I owned a Porsche and a farm and built big concrete dams and bought cattle and all the stuff that you do when you're ignorant and you run into a lot of money. You do stupid things, and I did stupid things. We drove a lot of nice cars, though, a bunch of them. They sure were nice. Probably 15 or 20 nice cars.
Puts a smile on your face, doesn't it?
Think about it. It's like, I bought 13 antique cars. I mean, it's stupid stuff. But, the Lord just did a reset in 1987 with me and said, stop it.
Yeah.
This is not where I'm taking you. You got to reset this. I've got something for you. I've got something I want you to go do. But he had to put me through the fire to get me there.
That's
good. And I think it was on purpose. I really don't look back on that time, even though it was dark, the darkest hours of my life. But I look back on it and I remember Mickey and I both, I went home the night that I realized we weren't going to make it. And I told her, I said, we're fixing to lose everything we have. And she said, I didn't want it anyway. What are you worried about? And so I knew I'd married the right person.
Oh, absolutely.
So, and she's bless her heart, she's put up with an entrepreneur. I call it entrepreneur because of some of the things I've gone through for all these years.
Well, I'm curious, what changed about your leadership after this experience?
Oh, wow. Well, I think I've thought about this a whole lot, and I have a hard time articulating it because what I recognized was that leaders really have a very unique little single thing that sets them apart from everybody else. And it's what I call spatial awareness.
Explain that.
They are aware of everything. Great leaders see it all. They see the toilets dirty. They see the paper on the floor. They see the windows with fingerprints on them. They see a smile on your face or fright on your face or fear or pain or anguish. They sense value in people. They see it all. They have this spatial awareness around them. Everything is seen.
Interesting.
There's not a detail I don't see. And there's not a detail my great leaders that I've got around me don't see.
Interesting.
So I look for those people that recognize detail, yet have the creative spirit to let go of some of that stuff too, and don't get hung up on it, but yet be aware of it and fix it. So it's just learning who could lead and who could not lead has been one of my biggest lessons.
Interesting.
In this journey.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So one more question before we move to another topic.
Yep.
What do you think separate entrepreneurs who can recover and those who can't from a near fatal experience like this?
Their view of risk.
Okay, explain that.
Failure, we don't learn anything in success.
Wow.
We only learn in failure.
Interesting.
That's my view of the world.
Okay.
All right. So it may be the wrong worldview. It may be backward. I don't know. But I've learned everything in failure. I learned nothing in my arrogance and success.
Interesting.
And if I see a boy that's arrogant and cocky, I just watch because I know it's not if but when he's fixing to get a reset.
Okay.
All right. So you learn all in failure. So, I mean, to try to answer your question in a different way, I think it's to me, don't be afraid of the failure. Look for the opportunity in it. What is the lesson in this? I'm going through a hard time. Yeah, okay. Why? What am I supposed to learn out of this? How do I never make this mistake again? How do I never get myself back in this crack again? What do I need to do to build hedges against this?
That's good.
So it's always looking at that failure or that difficult time as a learning process.
Okay.
So that's the way I see that.
That's good. That is so good. Let's move on to, I know since that
Talk
time,
about food maybe or something like
yeah,
that.
absolutely. Well,
Joking.
you've done work in the grocery space
Yep,
and
yep,
so on, but
yep.
you've built companies, but you've also acquired a number of
Yep.
companies. And I'm just curious because my experience as an entrepreneur, as I've built a company, I didn't know. I just didn't know strategically about acquiring to make my company bigger. I just didn't have that knowledge, and I'm curious to know what is it. What do you think founders most misunderstand about exits and about acquisitions?
Wow. It's a great, very complex question and very multifaceted. So let me give you a different example. So I'm a strategic buyer of companies, I'm not going out looking to companies to buy because I see a great asset and I think, wow, that's got great margin. Let's go buy that.
Okay.
No, I'm looking to build onto what I've already got.
Okay.
All right. So I'm always looking for that strategic buy that adds speed, velocity, or time savings to what we're doing. Gets us to market quicker, solves a problem in or brings a new asset in or a new feature into our company that the retailers needed
Have
at
you got
that
an
time.
example of that?
Yeah. So a big example was in 2019, I realized where I was trying to take the company in the future. And I realized that I was codependent on a developer that owned half my code. So I decided to buy the developer. Well, I bought the company in Ho Chi Minh City, MCM Tech at the time. And we bought that company and brought Lun Nguyen, the CEO of that company, in as my CTO. He had worked for me for almost 20 years and then went out and set his own company up when I left in 2007 from my first company. And so I brought him back in 19 as CTO because I trusted him. And then we turned around, buy that company, add developers over there, and start going into the software development path where we needed to go with our new product and rebuilding our data sets and all that. Start investing in Ho Chi Minh City because it was an arbitrage of labor. So strategically, I bought that company because I knew where I wanted to go. I knew if I didn't buy that company, I was going to pay a fortune for the development. I was paying $85 an hour, which was a good price.
Sure.
Because it's 135 to 185 an hour or 250 an hour now. So I bought it at 85 an hour is what I was paying for code. When I got in there, I was paying 12.50 an hour.
Wow.
So it was a wise purchase to give up a bunch of equity so I could get in the development business because then I added about 40 developers and I was able to go fast. So it just got me down the path quicker. That's a strategic acquisition, but that led me into the e-commerce space too.
Yeah.
And because then we could merge our code together and do a bunch of stuff there. So
as a business owner that may be trying to get their company ready to be acquired, what makes a business attractive to someone looking? Obviously, if it's a strategic fit, but other than that,
well, it's part of who you're selling it to. I mean, you got strategic buyers and you got the financial buyers, and the private equity, venture capital guys. They're looking for year-over-year growth, 20 to 30, 35%. They're looking for high RRRs, internal rates of return. They're looking to get a business that's throwing off a lot of cash. So they strip it from a lot of the cash along the way to pay back their investment, and then they sell it for a multiple. So that's a game in and of itself. Private equity, I could go on to nauseate you on that topic, which I don't like that topic.
I got it.
But on the strategic side, the strategic buyer is looking to add value to his business. So if you're for sale or you got somebody comes in and wants to buy you and they're already in your sector or want to add your business to their sector, then you have an opportunity to then negotiate that valuation because you got to look at it from his angle too. What's it worth to him to get you and what's it worth to me to go with him? So there's that fine push and pull constantly to try to create that valuation. On the PE side, it's all multiples and whatever the market's paying for your business sector.
Even if it's a strategic acquisition, still, are you, even if it's a strategic fit, but if it's a poorly run company, does that matter?
I bought two horribly run companies on purpose.
Okay.
Interesting. Well, because both of them had very high cost developers and they were spending millions on their development cost in Tel Aviv and in Toronto. right? So if any of those employees that I had to let go and move all that work to Vietnam heard me right now, they'd puke. But the reality is those companies couldn't have survived anyway. They were at their last, they were on their deathbed.
So you did them a favor.
I did them a favor. One of them was losing 3.5 million a year. One was losing 10 million a year.
Wow.
One of those we turned around 10, 11 months later and broke it even. Okay. Because we moved out all the development to Ho Chi Minh City and lowered our cost down 60% development cost, put the margin back in the business. That's the only way it would have survived. The other one, I bought 9 months into the first one. I buy another one like a nut that was losing 10 million a year, and we broke it even in a year and 2 months. So, you just, and we did that by taking 8 million in labor out of it.
Yeah.
It could not have survived. It was bleeding 10 million a year and had a family pouring 10 million a year into it, writing a check to keep it alive.
Wow.
It's not happening anymore. Now it stands on its own. It's positive cash. It's throwing off profits. Yeah. It's a great little company. It's going to do really well.
Yeah.
But now we've built this beast strategically by bringing all these assets together that would have never happened. Now we have a global company.
Interesting. All right. Well, let me ask you this, Galen. We're winding down here to the end of our interview, but after decades in business, what matters to you more now than it did when you first started out?
Wow. I think the realization that money's good, but it's not the king.
Okay.
We got to be careful because, you've sold a business. You know what I'm talking about. You can put so much emphasis on having a lot of money that you lose sight of the game. And you'll sell a business just to get the money, and then you end up with no purpose. And sometimes you're better off to have purpose and enjoy it and live a decent life and have some money instead of having all this money that you think you're going to win and then petrified that you're going to lose it once you've got it, because now you have no other income and you see that you're doing nothing but spending what you earned. So I see it happen all the time.
I was going to ask you if you've seen examples of entrepreneurs.
Just talking to a friend of mine just sold his business. He's sitting on 30 million. He told me that he said, I'm petrified. I'm going to run out of money.
Oh my goodness.
But he's sitting on 30 million.
Good night.
Seriously.
Wow.
And I'm like, you need to invest in what I'm doing right now because I can help you keep that income coming in. Yeah. But that's ridiculous. Stop that. That's ridiculous. You'll not run out of money. He said, you don't know how much money I'm spending. I said, well, then you need to stop spending money. Something's wrong with the picture. Yeah. But people, and another friend of mine sold his business many years ago, flew around on jets and all this kind of stuff. Won't dare say his name out loud because a bunch of my buddies know who I'm talking about. But he told me, he said, I'm petrified. He had big ranches and all this kind of stuff. But he said, I'm just pouring through money now.
Wow.
And I don't have an income stream. I got to go buy something. I got to go do something. And he got right back in business again in a completely different sector.
I guess, would you say we're wired to be creators, not necessarily spenders?
Oh, man. And I think though the entire world needs to stop being consumers and start being creators.
Yeah.
And I think even in churches, stop being the consumer. Create an atmosphere.
Beautiful.
Pour back into it.
I believe that.
Do that in business. Stop being a consumer of the business.
Yeah.
And be a creator in it.
I love that.
Build something.
Yeah.
Do something fun.
Boom.
Enjoy it. And that's why I love getting up every day. I absolutely love what I'm doing right now. I'm in a brand new company, brand new market, learning everything from scratch, dealing with the government, dealing with school districts, dealing with state legislatures. Never done this in my life.
Wow.
I absolutely, and people said, oh, you're up against a mountain. No, we'll fix it. We'll solve this. So let's go do it.
Now I know why Galen's so successful. That attitude, I love it.
Just go do it.
I love it. What last question?
And don't tell me I can't.
I love it. Exactly. I did an episode.
I'll work pretty hard. Prove it to you I can.
Reagan's mantra: "It can be done."
It can be done.
It can be done.
Why not me?
So, if an entrepreneur is listening today and they're close, they've invested a lot of time and money, and emotional, capital, and they're at the risk of losing everything. What's your message to them?
Well, number one, do what you have to do to try to survive the business. If you have to cut people, if you have to take cost out, you have to get out of your house, you got to sell your car, whatever you got to do to survive it. If it's a small business, do whatever you have to do to keep the business alive. Take care of the customer, keep the service level up. Don't abandon service.
Good.
Do your job. Do everything you do to survive the business. Now, if it's on its last leg and it's too late, too far, cut your losses, get out, go get a job, start over. But take care of your family.
good.
Take care of your wife. Make sure your wife, and this is a crisis moment for me to even say this out loud, because I don't hope my wife never hears this, but I think, she would never think that I thought about her through all this, that I was always selfish and I always thought about the business first. Mm-hmm. Never true. Always worried about what she thought, always wanted her acceptance, always wanted her approval, always wanted her to be proud of me. And the reality is it's difficult for them because they don't know what's going on. They don't know how bad it is. They don't know how good it is sometimes. And yet we keep them in the dark, and it's not really fair. But the reality is, take care of your family and your wife first. That comes first. Everything else is second.
That's good.
Even to your employees.
That's good.
Your wife is first, or your
I think
family.
It reminds me of one other thing, and we'll close with this, that I heard you say at that entrepreneur conference that I heard you were the keynote at. Relationships mean everything in business.
They're everything.
It's everything.
It's everything.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't matter really what you do. It's who you know.
Yeah.
And what they think about you, what you think about them, and what kind of bridge you build between the people. Because at the end of the day, the business is not going to be here, but the people are still going to be here.
That's good.
So, I mean, it's all about the relationships. It really is. Yeah. And then out of the relationships, what good can you do? And then you should take care, if you are doing really well as an entrepreneur, take care of those people around you.
That's good.
Look for people you can affect. Those people closest to you. Don't give it to the United Way. Give it to the people that are united with you.
Beautiful.
Take care of them.
Good advice.
Fix those people around you. Help make their lives smile.
That's awesome.
This isn't that complicated.
This has been very inspirational, Galen. Thank you so much. I'm honored that you came on today.
Thrilled to be here.
I know everybody's going to really get a lot out of this. Thank you very much.
Thank you. You're welcome. Thank you very much for having me.